Welcome to River Tales. River Tales is a 30-minute program that will introduce you to fascinating people, take you to interesting places, and enlighten you on important events that happen in our region. River Tales is sponsored by Southeast Missouri Hospital.
On this edition of River Tales, we take a tour and a taste test of some of the local cuisine in the Cape Girardeau area. We tour 3 restaurants that give us a behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to serve a select few to serving thousands every day. Stay tuned for River Tales.
At Southeast Missouri Hospital, our cancer program is one of only 25% in the country accredited by the American College of Surgeons.
That means I'm still here to tuck my kids in at night.
We were the first hospital in the region to provide stereotactic radiation therapy.
That means my dream of starting a business is still going strong.
We're opening a patient-centered, state-of-the-art regional cancer center in 2010.
That means I'll be here for my family for a long time.
Why do the people of Southeast Missouri Hospital work so hard to be leaders in breast cancer care? Because of what it means to the people who come from outside our hospital.
Visit Southeast Missouri Hospital on the web or call our health line. Understand your risks for breast cancer and see what makes us the region's most trusted source for cancer care.
Port Cape Girardeau is housed in one of the oldest buildings in Cape. The building dates back to the Civil War. It is a perfect setting for Doc Cain's legendary barbecue. With a menu that offers something for everyone, the atmosphere and the food are well known throughout this region.
Cape Girardeau has many landmarks, one of them being the Port Cape Girardeau building, which is now home to one of the city's tastiest barbecue restaurants. Doc Cain, who bought the restaurant in 1988, tells us what it's like running an independently owned, family-oriented barbecue restaurant in one of Cape Girardeau's oldest, most famous buildings.
Well, you set out to do the same thing every day. Every day. All of us here set out to do the same thing every day. But fortunately and unfortunately, it never works that way.
Staying true to his values, Doc started Port Cape Girardeau as a family-run restaurant. While his children have grown, they continue to help him when they can.
You know, it's kind of painful at times, but they know every aspect of the business. They know what you expect from employees, just like you were doing it, because they're raised up in it and they knew what was going on. So in that regard, I always like having our family at our side.
With the help of his family, Doc Cain has been able to put Port Cape Girardeau on the map for its family environment, friendly service, and of course, the barbecue.
We are a barbecue restaurant. Our barbecue is the same thing. We pay attention to what we're doing. We season the meat well. We buy quality meat. We season the meat well. We cook it in the proper way. We get that good bark on it, as I like to say, on the outside. And it's good, and it's fresh, and that's what we like.
But what exactly goes into the barbecue process? Doc takes us on a tour of the kitchen to see what leads to his mouth-watering barbecue sandwiches and entrees.
Okay, so this is kind of our power plant right here, to be honest with you. So let's open it up for you here a little bit, and you can kind of get a look at what we've got in there today. And these have been on about 12 hours. And so these are about as fresh as you can get, in my opinion. We like for our pork to be pullable. The term pullable means it pulls just right off the bone, and ours does that. And that's a tremendous product, I guarantee you. It's got that crust on it, that bark we spoke of. I guarantee you, this is a good item. Quality control.
Barbecue is obviously more than just throwing a few steaks on the grill. But it takes more than a good sandwich to get such widespread publicity.
You have to have good food, you have to have good value, and you have to be dedicated to your customers. But for us, I think we go a little further than that. I like to think of us as the cornerstone of downtown. We've been here a long time. We're here for lunch, we're here for dinner, we're here for special events. We've seen a lot of the good things that happen downtown. We've seen a lot of the bad things that have happened downtown. I think now, quite honestly, we deserve to be called that.
While Port Cape Girardeau may be the cornerstone of this river city, it must be hard to maintain business with popular chain restaurants constantly coming into town. Doc, however, describes the key to success as an independently owned restaurant.
It is sometimes difficult to compete with the chains, but if you really get down to it, their value is certainly no better than ours, and sometimes less of a value than what we offer on a regular basis. The fact that your advertising budget is much, much larger than the independent restaurateurs doesn't mean that the quality is better, it doesn't mean that the price is better, it doesn't mean that the service is better. And so what I feel about that is that you need to definitely check out your independent restaurateur, because chances are they're going to be there, they're going to know who you are, they're going to want to please you, and they're going to want you to come back. I don't think there's anything that can demonstrate passion for your craft like an independent restaurateur. It's not just about the business that you're doing, it's about the relationships that you've developed over the years. You want to make sure that you please every customer that comes in, because you're probably speaking to the second generation of one that you've serviced before. I think that gets the personal side involved in it. And as independents, we have that passion to be in this business. If you don't love it, chances are you're not going to be very successful at it.
Independently owned restaurants, however, usually don't have the money to spend on advertising to attract new customers.
One of the things that us independents have to do is probably try to seize every opportunity we can.
Doc and his employees have turned Port Cape Girardeau into much more than a restaurant. They cater for dinner parties of all sizes. They have a full bar. They collaborate with the River City Players for 5 dinner theater shows a year. They host comedy shows, musicians, and other entertainers, and they even have a riverside ice cream parlor.
That's a fairly new treat to Port Cape Girardeau.
While the river may turn 1,000 tales, the Port Cape Girardeau building itself is a conversation piece.
Well, this building is something else. As an owner of this building, sometimes it can be very challenging. It's talked about probably in 3 states. If you ask anyone from Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, Missouri, they're going to know where Port Cape Girardeau is. You know, the business has been here since 1974 as Port Cape Girardeau. The building's been here since the 1800s. We kind of go hand in hand. We have a long history together, and the building is a tremendous structure. It's tremendous. We have a mural on the side of our building that's been there since the 50s, the Coca-Cola sign. It's almost as famous as our building itself. So when you look at the downtown and you look at old pictures of the downtown, you see Port Cape Girardeau in most of them, dating back to the 1900s, the early 1900s. And it still, to this day, looks pretty much like it did then. We love our building. It goes with us very well.
To Doc Cain, Port Cape Girardeau is not just a restaurant. It's a statement of Cape Girardeau.
Port Cape Girardeau is a very essential part of our community, and I'm just proud to represent my family and be a part of this community. I think it's very important.
Americans is struggling with hunger. Who's the 1 in 8 in your life? You can help today. Visit feedingamerica.org/1in8 to find your local food bank.
River Tales is sponsored by Southeast Missouri Hospital.
Continuing with the family tradition of creating great food, James Cain has created a new fine dining experience that offers a big city taste in a small town restaurant.
Cape Girardeau is known for its riverside setting, its historic downtown, and its abundance of restaurants. Despite all the restaurants, there are few fine dining venues in this small riverside city. So, when Cape Girardeau native chef James Cain decided to open his own restaurant, he thought, what better place than Cape Girardeau to open Cain, the newest fine dining venue.
Being one of the few fine dining restaurants in Cape Girardeau, I think, is a real privilege. I think there's a very small customer base, and people don't always get to enjoy fine dining and a great meal. We're very new, so we're kind of feeling our way. We're for the first year to see how it goes, you know, and see what the business is going to be like.
James Cain is no stranger to the food business. His father, Doc Cain, has owned and managed Port Cape Girardeau, which is famous for its barbecue and family atmosphere since 1988.
The family's owned the Port Cape for over 20 years now. Whenever I was young, I would wash dishes and do things around the restaurant, and it kind of evolved into cooking and catering and manager positions, and eventually into culinary school and into Cain. So it was just kind of a natural progression, and everything just started to come together from there.
James' exposure to culinary art at his school in Chicago led him from the slow process of barbecue to the creativity in fine dining.
I chose fine dining because whenever I was living and working in Chicago, I knew that there were other avenues out there for food, and I started to learn a more elevated style of food. And that's really where my passion lies, is in fine dining.
James spent a few years cooking at country clubs near Chicago before returning to Cape Girardeau to partner with his father in the establishment of Cain.
The restaurants that I worked at previously certainly inspired Cain and inspired my cuisine, because I've taken all the experiences and all the education and the different things and working with different ingredients, and that becomes your cuisine. The cuisine here is American, but based upon French, Italian, and Mediterranean regional cooking. I have a French cooking background, so I use French type sauces and things like that.
James says the transition from just being a chef to running an entire restaurant has been tough, but it definitely has its perks.
Working in a restaurant is one thing, but running the restaurant is another. It's very difficult because of the time involved. You don't have a lot of time with food. It's a perishable item, so you have to be smart and you have to utilize the product in the right way. And that's probably the hardest thing for anyone who runs a restaurant to learn, is that if you make mistakes and if you lose food, you lose money. You know, there's so many different things to think about and so many things that you face on a day-to-day basis that you just never know what's going to pop up. It definitely is a lifestyle. It's all the time. It's 24/7. Even though we're closed Sunday and Monday, I'm always here, and there's always something to be done. So, but it's good. This is what I've always wanted to do. Having my own restaurant is having complete control over the cuisine. There's nothing better than being your own boss. And when I make a decision, there's no one above me to say, no, you can't do that. And that's the beauty of it, of having your own place and being creative and doing those things. Being with the ingredients every day and cooking, that's how you become creative. That's how you come up with something great. And that's what I love about being here and having Cain. Sometimes I have no idea what a dish is going to turn out like until it's on the plate and going out the door. I mean, sometimes I have a picture in my head, or I know I'm going to use this and this and certain ingredients in a dish, but I really don't know what the finished product is going to be like until it's cooked and on the plate and I taste it and know that it's good. I have a good idea. I hope it's going to be good. I think it's going to be good, and in my head it makes sense. But you never know until it's on the plate, you know? I try not to put any rules, or there's certain guidelines that I follow, but mostly it's about following my training and using the techniques and applying that to ingredients to create different versions of dishes.
The cuisine at Cain and other fine dining restaurants is not what you would find on your average chain restaurant menu. Nor is there a comparison in the amount of preparation put into each dish.
The reason that I think our dishes are so special is because of all the little things that go into each dish that people don't necessarily realize. There's a lot of work behind the scenes and a lot of elements that go into one single dish. All the things that people don't see, I think that's really what separates our food from, say, a larger chain restaurant or something like that. It's all made here. And I think that speaks a lot about what we're doing.
At restaurants like Cain, customers pay for perfection. That perfection occurs in the kitchen.
In the kitchen can be very stressful, you know. It's all about preparation, being prepared and having everything ready so that you can execute the dishes well in a timely manner. And that's one thing that I really harp on with my cooks. If you do that and you've got it all and you don't have to worry, then it just comes down to cooking, you know? And we can do that all night long.
Compared to most restaurants, Cain is an extremely small establishment with seating for only about 50 people. But that is exactly what James wanted.
Having a smaller restaurant is great for me in a lot of ways, and it's a lot easier to manage. And whenever you know how many people are going to come in on a nightly basis, you get to prepare and be ready for those people. But also, we have a lot more control over the experience here than a larger operation would, and it's great. I love it because you're not pulling your hair out every night, worrying about all these different covers. We know the dishes that we're going to do. We know how many people are going to come in, and we can control that experience from start to finish. At Cain, we try to make the experience as personal as possible. Everyone that comes here to work every day, they're here for the people that are going to come eat. And we want to make sure that experience is the best that it can possibly be.
Quality customer service is a necessity in fine dining. And James knows that by keeping his customers happy, he can become a forerunner in Cape Girardeau's dining market.
There is an opportunity for a business like ours to succeed in this area. I think there are a lot of people who are looking for this type of restaurant and want to enjoy fine dining. And so what I think the responsibility comes to us to make sure that we are doing the right things to save profits and stay in business and provide the best product possible. My ultimate goal for Cain is for this to be the premier dining restaurant in Cape Girardeau, hands down. I think that over time it will build a reputation and we'll show everyone around that we are good and we are doing exciting food that's different, you know. I know that there's a lot of good restaurants around, but I want Cain to be the best.
Southeast Missouri Hospital is the only hospital in the region to be named a Blue Distinction Center for Cardiac Care by Blue Cross and Blue Shield.
That means we got to spend our 30th anniversary together.
And we're looking forward to our 40th.
We achieved the Health Grade Specialty Excellence Award in Cardiac Surgery.
That means I'll be here to meet my first grandbaby.
Southeast achieved a 5-star rating from Health Grades for coronary bypass surgery.
That means a lot more birthdays with our kids and our grandkids too.
Why do the people of Southeast Missouri Hospital work so hard to be leaders in cardiac surgery? Because of what it means to the people who come from outside our hospital.
Visit Southeast Missouri Hospital on the web or call our health line. Understand your risks for heart disease and see what makes us the region's most trusted source for cardiac surgery.
When you are creating a meal for just a few, it's an experience. When you create a meal for thousands every day, it's an undertaking. Chartwells Dining Service is responsible for feeding the SEMO student population with a variety of delightful choices every day. We take you on a rare look at the process of making a multitude for the masses. Cape Girardeau is home to many spectacular places, and one place that is on top of everyone's list is the campus of Southeast Missouri State University. With a little over 10,000 people enrolled at Southeast, one may wonder how the hardworking students maintain a healthy diet. And the team at Chartwells are the ones who work hard to make this happen. Chartwells is a national college and university dining service that promotes health and wellness initiatives through its Eat, Learn, Live philosophy. Auburn University, St. Louis University, Xavier, and the University of Miami are a few of the many schools that Chartwells is affiliated with and is grateful to be part of Southeast. Tim Weatherly, resident district manager for Chartwells at Southeast, has been with the school for over 9 years. Prior to joining the Southeast family, Weatherly was the director of operations at the University of Arkansas. With a background of over 33 years in food, Weatherly is a great asset to the Chartwells team. From a small operation of a family-owned restaurant to a national corporation like Chartwells is, Weatherly overlooks the process at Southeast in its entirety, but never could do it without his professional staff.
It's all about great people. One of the things that I've been fortunate here is I've been able to surround myself with very talented people, talented staff, from the person who's washing pots and pans to the person serving things up to production and the people planning and implementing. You have to have a plan. Planning is one of the key essential pieces. And to get people to come back, you have to have smiles and the experience has to be great. I've got 3 people on staff that are working regionally besides working for us here. And I'm delighted by that. My executive chef has been asked to help in other places. My registered dietitian, the exec chef Michael Reitman, registered dietitian is Candace O'Hare, and my marketing person, Trevor Sumner. He's also been asked to help regionally. So I'm delighted with that, and I'm honored by that when my team is helping the rest of the team.
Head executive chef at Chartwells for over 2 years, Michael Reitman is the man in charge of the food. Basically, he is responsible for all the food production on and off Southeast campus. This includes every dining facility on campus and their catering service that is always on the run. Basically, if you're eating Chartwells food, odds are Michael Reitman had a hand in it.
I have been a chef, I have run a restaurant, I have been a front of the house, I've been a food and beverage director. I kind of always come back to the kitchen. I really enjoy working in the kitchen, getting to experience the food, making sure that it's the right quality, and it's easy to do in a suit, but it's more fun to do when you're in the chef whites. So I enjoy it a lot.
Many people do not realize the impact that the customers have on the different foods that are being put on the table. At Chartwells, they thrive off of the feedback from the students to satisfy everyone's needs.
Your customers are your best resource because they'll tell you what they want if you ask. If you don't ask, well, you're going to be probably not in business very long. So, we look at market trends, trade magazines, but really the kids tell us where, the direction that we need to go. It's kind of when we developed the Olives, which is our latest venue. We did a lot of roundtables with students to find out, what were you looking for.
Students may think that all cafeteria food comes frozen or is out of a can. And when it's time to eat, it's unpackaged and warm. But this is definitely not true at Chartwells. Each meal is homemade, and when it comes to a college full of students so far away from home, a nice home-cooked meal can easily put a smile on anyone's face.
It's all personal philosophy. I'm from New Orleans. I cook everything from scratch. Pre-prepared foods, and I'm not a big fan of them. You don't get to control the seasonings that go in them. You don't get to control, the salt and all the other factors that you don't really get to normally touch. So we're big kind of a scratch cooking facility here.
To Chef Reitman, the ingredients that go into every meal is so important because to him, healthiness is the key to success.
We do not serve anything that has trans fats. Our oils that we fry in are pure vegetable oils. There's no, or canola oils. There's no trans fats. So we're kind of ahead of the curve because we've been doing that for years. There is no MSG in any of our products. We don't offer it. We don't supply it. It's just it's not there. So as far as sodium intake, fat intake, we put a nutritional value on every one of our recipes. We post them upstairs and online and show what the values are. So we're constantly trying to come up with better ideas.
From the first step of getting the menu approved to the last step of dishing hundreds of meals onto the customers' plates, the long process is tedious. But when you have a team of experts like Chartwells does, the process becomes a daily routine.
We have kind of a requisition system where I'll order food twice a week from our vendor, and it'll be based on usage from prior weeks or previous forecasts. I'll get in what we'll need for the next few days to ensure the freshness. We get produce 3 times a week.
From that point, then on a production record, somebody would take and identify how much of what they're making, identify the recipes. From the recipes, pull the product, slack any meat products out that thaw them out that need to be thawed, and then start the production. And then you're not talking about one cook. You're talking about a salad production person. You're talking about a baker. You're talking about probably a lead production person, probably a prep person that's helping with that. So you've got a lot of hands that are involved.
The next step is presentation, and maybe the most important, because if it doesn't look good, it won't be eaten. Weatherly uses his degree in fine arts to mix and match food colors so it is more pleasing to the customer's eye. Chef Reitman takes us behind the scenes at the University Center's kitchen on Southeast's campus and shows us how each station is just as important as the next.
This is kind of the heart of our operation. This is our food storeroom. All dry goods that come in to the UC are checked in and then stored in here. This is what we call the hot line. This is where we do all of our hot production. We have a 6-burner stove, 3 ovens. We have a deck oven and a stack oven. This is our Hearthstone production area. This is where we produce all the foods for Hearthstone up in the market. This is our production cooler / freezer. The freezer is behind it. Everything that's in production we keep in this cooler, from Hearthstone to Yen to every station that we have upstairs. Yeah, as you can see, space is tight, but every station has its own compartmentalized rack where we keep all of the food for that station. This is our bake shop for the entire university. This is where the love happens. Basically, we make from scratch every item that is baked here, whether it's biscuits, scones, desserts for Hearthstone, desserts for Towers, brownies, cookies, blondies. Everything that is sweet comes out of this room here.
When it comes down to it, teamwork and hard work is the key factor in keeping a strong business alive. Weatherly speaks highly of his team of professionals, but from the mentality of a businessman, he knows that there is always room for improvement.
Anybody can do excellent once, but it's maintaining excellence, it's hard. And that's one of our challenges. If there's something I want to say, and this is something that I try to teach all my managers, is walk with purpose. If you're going from point A to point B, go for a reason. We need to pay attention. And the other thing that I constantly say to them, inspect what you expect. Don't be afraid to change the standard. Don't be afraid to fail. And in my mind's eye, there's no really such thing as failure. There are outcomes, and if it's not the desired outcome, you need to change how you do it.
Each month, we will take this journey where there are many places to go. There are many interesting people to meet, and so many new things to see. Join us again on River Tales.